I'm joined once again today by our friend Stephanie Dobson. Stephanie is a lawyer and mediator here in Lloydminster, and we've been doing a series talking about separating and divorce, trying to help people find their way, negotiating through the process, everything that they need to do. So Stephanie, welcome back to the show. Thank you for speaking with us.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, as always.
Now today, Stephanie, we're going to be talking about something that some people are good at and some are not so good at, and that is technology and how you can use it to your benefit when it comes to separation and divorce. So what are some of the ways that parents who are either separating or divorced or in the midst of all this can actually use technology to help get through this process?
So the first thing I want to focus on is the thing that we didn't have time for in our communication segment. So I wanted to talk to you about communication apps, so co-parenting apps. If you do a Google search, what you'll find is a whole ton of different apps that are out there. Some are free, some are paid, but in essence, they're a way to compartmentalize your communication with your co-parent. And there's so many different features, and you'll have to just find the one that's right for you. So I just wanted to focus on a few features just to give you an example. So most of them have a shared calendar section and a way to track expenses and reimbursement for child support purposes and messaging. But they also have things like journaling. You can send pictures back and forth. Even kids are able to communicate with the parent when they're not with the parent. They're able to communicate with them through these apps. So there's a whole host of advantages. The other thing is to keep your communication out of your text message feed or your email feed. And so you know that all of your communication with your co-parent will be going through this app. And it's a great way to just sort of segregate all of the communication to keep it nice and organized.
Now, Stephanie, there are people who are just not the greatest with technology, and I know these apps are very helpful, but what do you recommend if they're not so great at working around these types of things?
So at the very least, I would recommend some kind of a shared calendar. And there's tons of ways that you can do this because today we're talking about technology. So even at its very basic level, most people have some kind of a free email service. So whether it's Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo or something like that, and most of those services have a calendar attached to it. And most of the time you can actually add a segregated calendar. So if you add a calendar, say called Kids Calendar, and you can share that on an editable basis with the other parent, and both of you are able to add in things that would affect the kids. So, for example, if you find out about a birthday party or hot lunch or different various sporting activities or changes to schedules or special occasions or that sort of thing. So at the very least, getting a shared calendar is really helpful. Now, if you're not wanting to get one on the electronic basis, of course, you can always do the old, print out a calendar and have the same calendar photocopied on both people's fridges. But the shared calendar on the email service is really nice because it's free and it's usually included and it's really easy to use.
So how can parents use technology to keep on top of what their kids are doing, and not only through schools but just planning in general?
So there's lots of outlets out there, whether it's dentists, doctor's office, chiropractor, schools, where parents can actually log into an online portal, sort of like a client or a patient portal. And so you can actually get information typically directly from those agencies. And so you're not relying, the best thing I can recommend is to try not to rely on the other parent to provide information, but to get it straight from the source. One of the things that I know I implement myself is to have a kid-specific email address. And so, for example, you could have, kids@gmail.com or, your surname, smithkids@gmail.com or something like that, where any sporting activities, schools, those kind of things, anyone could, that's the email address that you would give to them, and that can actually be automatically forwarded to each parent. And so you get the communication directly from the institution or the organization, as opposed to going through each parent, making sure you forward things. And that's where really things get lost in translation, I find, is when you're relying on the other parent to provide the information.
All right, well, Stephanie, thank you so much for speaking with us today. We really appreciate it. And I know that there's so much more we could talk about when it comes to technology. If people do have some questions and they would like to reach out to you, whether it be for divorce-related issues or even just some of the things that we've spoken about today, what's the best way to do that?
So they can go on our website. So there's a contact form on each page of our website, but also specifically under the TV series page, there's a great way for you to reach out to us and even suggest to us various topics, and then we can use that for our next segment. So henkadivorce.ca.
All right, Stephanie. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We wish you a Merry Christmas, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, you too.